Denise Richards appeared in Los Angeles last week with a black eye so severe that speculation quickly overwhelmed social media and tabloid headlines. Her right eye was visibly swollen, purple, and bruised along the cheekbone, sparking a storm of public concern and suspicion. The timing of the injury was immediately questioned, especially given the backdrop of her increasingly hostile divorce proceedings with estranged husband Aaron Phypers. The injury wasn't addressed publicly by Richards at the time the images surfaced, but it didn't take long before her ex stepped into the narrative. Phypers, who has remained mostly silent during the early stages of their separation, abruptly provided what he claimed was an explanation for the injuries seen on Richards' face. According to him, the black eye was the result of a so-called minor mishap at home. Nothing sinister, nothing intentional, and certainly not what people were assuming. But the explanation has been met with disbelief by many. Sources close to the situation allege that Richards and Phypers had a history of heated verbal disputes, some of which escalated behind closed doors. The exact details remain unclear, but the situation is now growing beyond a private matter between two people. It has transformed into a very public unraveling of a high-profile relationship, and one that now has visible bruises. In his statement, Phypers claimed the injury was caused by an accidental collision involving furniture during what he described as a stressful moment. He suggested that Richards had tripped and hit the corner of a cabinet, but insiders say that version doesn't track with the level of bruising captured in the photos. They also note that no medical documentation was provided, and Richards herself hasn't corroborated that story. Legal documents tied to the divorce filings reportedly mention verbal and emotional volatility within the relationship. While there are no official reports accusing Phypers of physical violence, the implications of the black eye paired with the current divorce narrative have amplified concerns. Observers also noted the lack of immediate support from Richards' inner circle. Several close friends were reportedly blindsided by the images and reached out to her directly, only to be met with silence or vague reassurances. One source familiar with the actress said that her reluctance to speak publicly has less to do with guilt or shame and more to do with controlling how this divorce is handled in court. The split between Richards and Phypers has been developing quietly for months, but things have clearly taken a darker turn. The couple, who were married in 2018, initially presented themselves as a stable and spiritual duo, often speaking about their shared journey with meditation, energy work, and healing therapies. But behind the scenes, insiders claim the marriage began crumbling under pressure, including financial tension, disagreements about parenting, and unresolved anger from past relationships. Phypers has reportedly been living separately for several weeks. The couple shares no biological children, but Richards has adopted daughters, and there have been questions raised about custody arrangements and how much involvement Phypers still wants in their lives. According to court documents, one major point of contention has been the couple's finances, specifically control over joint accounts, real estate decisions, and shared business ventures. That financial friction may be playing a role in why both sides have been eager to control the public narrative. Phypers' explanation of the black eye could be seen as an attempt to diffuse speculation that could damage his reputation or affect legal proceedings, but his version of events isn't sitting well with everyone. Domestic violence advocates have also weighed in. Without naming Richards directly, some professionals in the field have used the opportunity to remind the public that physical injuries in high-profile divorces are often minimized or dismissed until it's too late. Several advocacy groups posted statements online urging transparency, caution, and support for anyone who might be in a vulnerable situation, celebrity or not. Meanwhile, Richards has been mostly silent publicly. She was seen again days after the initial images, wearing sunglasses and accompanied by a friend. There's been no social media update addressing the black eye, no denial, and no direct comment on Phypers' account of what happened. Her team has offered no press statements either, adding to the sense of mystery. Privately, however, there are signs she is preparing for a long and complex battle. Sources close to Richards say she's been gathering documents, securing legal representation, and considering how much she wants to expose during the proceedings. Her friends are reportedly urging her to go public with her side of the story, especially given the visible evidence and the growing online pressure. Some Some critics are also turning their attention to how Hollywood tends to shield uncomfortable realities with vague explanations. The black eye, being described as an accident without any formal medical acknowledgement or investigation, fits a pattern where the elite often avoid deeper scrutiny. Commentators on social media noted how similar scenarios have played out in the past, with injuries explained away until more damaging evidence surfaced months later. The divorce between Richards and Phypers had already started attracting attention before the injury. Their relationship had always seemed unconventional, with both being involved in alternative wellness practices and having complicated pasts. Phypers was previously married to actress Nicolette Sheridan, and that relationship also ended amid swirling rumors and tension. Now, with this new layer added, the situation feels far from over. Richards' legal team has filed preliminary paperwork seeking sole ownership over one of their shared properties and exclusive rights to a brand the two were reportedly developing together. Phypers has filed counterclaims arguing that he played an active role in the business development and is owed compensation. The filings are expected to become public in the coming weeks. And then there's the question of public image. For someone like Richards, who has spent decades in the spotlight, from Hollywood films to reality TV, the optics of the situation matter. Her silence could be strategic, or it could be fear, or, as some believe, it could be a signal that something more serious has happened behind closed doors. One former associate of Richards, who worked with her during her time on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, described her current approach as controlled retreat. According to that source, Richards has always been protective of her privacy, even while being on camera. She'll go quiet when things are boiling, but that doesn't mean she's backing down. It usually means she's planning something. Whether that means a formal statement, a legal counterattack, or simply letting the court documents speak for themselves remains to be seen, but the public is watching closely. The photo of her black eye continues to circulate, and questions about the legitimacy of Phypers' story aren't going away. The longer the silence drags on, the more people speculate, and as court dates approach and new filings are expected, the pressure will only intensify. The divorce has already taken a sharp turn from private separation to public scandal, but if this is only the beginning, the next phase could be even more explosive. While Denise remained relatively quiet in the immediate aftermath of the black eye incident, public curiosity surged. Paparazzi photos of her bruised face ignited viral speculation, yet behind the scenes, legal filings and insider leaks painted a much darker, emotionally charged picture. Denise's close friends began speaking anonymously to the press, describing months of mounting tension behind closed doors and pointing to what they called a pattern of gaslighting and image manipulation. One source close to Denise revealed that she had documented several instances of verbal aggression from her estranged husband, especially during disagreements over money and parenting. This wasn't a one-time thing, they claimed. She kept a record, screenshots, audio clips, journal entries. She knew she might need proof one day. Despite her efforts to keep the divorce private, the court filings revealed a disturbing picture. Denise's legal team accused her estranged husband of spinning false narratives in the media to gain sympathy and distract from his own actions. They suggested her black eye wasn't just an accident. It was the culmination of a relationship marred by control, emotional instability, and manipulation. Her husband pushed back publicly, staging a dramatic interview where he denied any abuse and claimed Denise hit her face on a door after an argument. But his story kept changing. First it was a door, then a staircase, then a slip in heels. Each version only deepened public skepticism. Online, fans dissected her body language and photos. Why was she still wearing her wedding ring? Was she hiding something? Social media turned into a battleground. Justice for Denise trended, while others claimed she was tarnishing his name for leverage. Her lawyers submitted a timeline of alleged gaslighting, financial manipulation, and threats. They argued the black eye was part of a pattern. Most shocking was a sealed audio recording where her husband allegedly mocked her career and threatened to destroy her public image. Though the clip wasn't released, whispers about its contents set off a media storm. Hollywood began backing away, friends distanced themselves, brands canceled deals. The couple's life had become too radioactive to touch. Denise tried to reclaim her image by working on small projects and sharing behind-the-scenes moments online. But every post was hijacked by comments, some supportive, others invasive. Her bruised face had become symbolic, fueling endless speculation. The court eventually issued a gag order to control the chaos, but the damage had already been done. Later, Denise gave a raw podcast interview. Without naming him, she opened up about fear and reclaiming her story. Sometimes people don't show who they really are until they feel like they're losing you. The internet lit up with theories and quote cards. Her husband hit back with a defamation suit. Legal experts called it a tactic to silence and discredit her. Then came the custody twist. Denise sought sole custody, citing emotional instability. A mediator began speaking to the children privately, trying to separate truth from performance. This wasn't just a celebrity breakup anymore. It was a war of survival unfolding in public, one painful headline at a time.